Pizza, my friends, who are you?
I'm media theorist John Berger. I'm in town for the Meeting of the Minds conference, and I've rented this apartment for the weekend. You must be the owner of this mediocre establishment?
9. I am Walter Benjamin.
All right, Captain, we are ready for your announcement.
All right. This is your captain.
Wait, but I'm the captain.
No, look at me. I'm the captain now.
Oh, jeez. All right, well, I hope this thing's working, and I'm going to start with my first log. So, September 2nd, 2017. This is my second log of the day. It appears to be this open, vast space of... Whoa! Wait a minute. You're Dr. Bill Lang. Are you even here right now? My mind must be playing a trick on me.
Yeah, so CDNstudio. First of all, I'm Frank. I'm not an audio engineer. I feel like a bit of an imposter.
No. Don't worry. We're in an IP world. We're faking it too. Don't worry. We're faking it too.
I'm a lighting and video designer based out of Ottawa, and I work with Spiderweb Show, which is a company based out of Kingston, and we are a digital performance company. We host a digital performance festival every June, and for the last 5 years, we've been developing CDNstudio, which is the video I just thrust upon you.
We'll get it.
Basically, the way CDNstudio works is that you get video feeds from all of your participants, and our server smushes them all into one screen. So it looks like you're in the same digital space, essentially.
Okay.
And so this is not necessarily an audio tool, but it definitely has a lot of potential as a performance tool in digital space. Say you could get your band back together online, or at least make it look like that in ways that maybe you can't in Zoom or other products. I think it would be best if you used our product CDNstudio in tandem with some of the technology that. Oh, are you there? I'm frozen.
Yeah. No, I got you here.
Oh, great.
And I think is this the website? If I talk, does this look like the website? Bring the rehearsal hall to you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll scroll through it.
Exactly.
So I'll put it in the chat. All right. I'm in the chat. Good. Earl, how's that video? We got a video? Standing by.
Yeah. So cdnstudio.ca.
Okay.
Are you going to try to run that, Frank? We weren't getting sound from you. Do you hear me? Does anybody?
So you book a studio time. So you book a CDNstudio time. Is this through? Hello, Frank. Did we lose you?
Earl, I think you have correctly selected the audio from the video because we lost your microphone.
Welcome to CDNstudio, Canada's first virtual rehearsal hall. To get started, you will need a blue or green background, such as a green screen kit or a painted wall, a webcam, and a computer with Chrome or Firefox installed. Start by launching your studio from the CDNstudio dashboard or clicking the link in the invitation email you've received. Position your webcam so that it sees only your background, with you in the foreground. In the video feed of yourself, double-click an area of your background to select its color. You should now see yourself inside the studio. Your background should be replaced by the pink CDNstudio stripes. You can reset your background color at any time by double-clicking in another spot. You can also replace the CDNstudio stripes with your own background by uploading an image here. Have fun in CDNstudio.
All right, so I imagine it is also a sharing platform, or is it a... Did Frank get back? Did we get Frank back?
I'm back. I'm back.
Was that the video? Hopefully that was the video, or else I just wasted all your time. I'm so sorry.
No, that was a great video to show. I have no idea what you guys have seen or where I cut it. But I'll go back to the beginning, I guess. So CDNstudio is a program for really easy. All you need is a green background or a blue background of some kind. I use a green blanket, and you can put everyone all into the same video feed and then display that through OBS to whatever streaming service you want to use.
Right. So do you provide an alpha, or you just provide and you just so you say, well, I'm getting a good quality green screen background, and we're going to you're passing on a compositable image that can be consumed by OBS to be composited into scenes with other people. So is it an aggregator as well? So do you provide? So if I have a chroma key, somebody else has a chroma key, you aggregate those, and then you put out one stream or one record that is an aggregate of those composites. Is that right?
That is absolutely true. Yeah, we have a server that combines all of those video feeds, puts them all together. You can change the background into whatever you want to make it.
I get it.
Yeah.
So and this happens in real time. This happens in real time. Correct. And it happens as a so what do you do for synchronization? So what's your talkback microphone? How do you communicate with the people as a part of this this presentation?
I think that what we have to offer is a really individual and unique way for digital performance. Get your band back in the same screen. A really different visual for people optimally that maybe you can't get elsewhere instead of the Zoom squares or what have you. So it's just a tool it's a visual performance tool that's currently the only thing I know of that does what it does.
That's very interesting. So, I imagine news conglomerate like DeGero or your Live Views or somebody would be interested in doing something like this as a plugin. So that's a very interesting concept. Are you designing the software, or are you using third-party hardware to aggregate it externally? Like, do you have? So I'm a part-time video guy. Don't tell Gary Garnick that I'm a part-time video guy. So do you have, are you receiving all of these streams and putting them into like a TriCaster or some type of software that you've written, and then aggregating it? Or is it completely a software-based solution, no hardware other than some type of, let's call it a concentrator that concentrates these signals, aggregates them, applies the key, the positioning of the key, and poops them out? So do you have OBS running on a server somewhere aggregating Skype phone calls? That's kind of my back end question. How are you accomplishing this?
So Joel Adria is the man who programmed CDNstudio. He's the fellow in the video that you just saw. My relationship to CDNstudio is as a video designer for theater. So I was the first one to actually use it in live application. We had a performance where we had performers in Kingston, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, all performing in the exact same production at the same time. There was a live performance happening in Kingston, but you had performers from all over Canada. And I think that's one of the things that we have to offer is getting people in the same room who otherwise couldn't be.
I think it's super cool. My brother used to go to piano stores and hit the demo key and pretend to fake do the demo on the keyboards. And I think a lot of people are doing that right now to kind of like have a backup plan to when the web, attempt to connect these multiverses together in a live performance, comes crumbling down. We do it all the time in broadcast. Like you always got some kind of hot standby. So it's interesting to see that, people are starting to do this type of thing online. And man, there's a very fascinating service. Now I'm curious about
audio connected again. Am I there?
Yeah, Earl, we got you there. Oh, yeah.
In my attempt to play your video back, Frank, my Windows decided that it was going to disconnect me from the...
I did the old hold the microphone to the boombox trick, and I think we got most of it.
So Frank and I had a conversation, though, while we were setting things up, and everything was working perfectly at the time while we were looking at the video. And I'm not sure, I was trying to solve my audio problem. If you saw the scene in the aircraft where there were the two pilots and there was the air attendant coming up between the two of them. And that, when I'm watching that and realizing those are three performers that aren't physically in the same location, they don't see each other, really. They know where each other should be, so they're virtually performing together. They've got a screen in front, but they need to be able to focus on what they're actually doing. They can't be acting and looking up at the screen. So they have to have an imagination. So I asked Frank, because he was obviously involved with that, is what was the impact? I mean, how did they do that? And as he said, they had a grid set up so that performers would know where somebody was supposed to be. These are techniques that are common in Hollywood, and now we are facing an era where techniques that aren't common in theater, but if we want to carry on with theater for the next however long it is, we're going to need to embrace them. And what CDNstudio and what you've been doing with Spiderweb Show, which really, really fascinated me when I saw that video clip, is they said, here we are looking for a new way or taking existing ways in order to be able to move on and not just stop and wait until we can finally go back doing it the way we used to do it. And the end, I think a result that we'll see come out of this is new ideas that will probably impact the way we do theater afterwards will emerge. Because once we realize we can do this, we may say, well, let's incorporate that. I mean, why do we have to go back to where we were before? So Frank, I think it's really exciting. I spoke to you about your product, and you may have mentioned this while I was off trying to get my microphone fixed. You can book time in their studio. You can get an hour of time if you've got some actors, and or they have done music. They haven't really been focusing on that, but if you want to experiment with that, it's available. They have tech staff that can help set it up, and especially obviously if you're wanting to involve the video, because that's involving the green screen and getting that set up. They've got all of that technology. And that's a made in Canada solution, and I think it's really, really amazing that something like that. And the other point, I believe, which is mentioned on your website, is that this was all developed 2 to 3 years ago and kind of set aside, and all of a sudden now we have a need for it, and so now it's back in the focus, and now it'll mature. Yeah. Do anything else you want to add, Frank? Did I steal all your thunder?
No, not at all. I'm sorry about the internet connection. I see I have a question here about audio latency, and audio latency is something that we are dealing with, especially in beta. It is a reality. Basically, the time that it takes your webcam signal to get to our server and then be spit out again to the front end does create some latency. The only good news I can provide about it right now is that at least it's consistent. So when we worked with it in our 2017 production, we were able to actually work with the choreography of the show to work it in. So we actually developed a language with each other so it didn't seem as bad. But right now that's where we're at with latency.